All right, inverse functions is the topic of section 7.2 because inverses are going to play a big role in this exponential unit. The definition of an inverse function basically is a function or functions, let's use plural, functions that undo each other. Key word being undo. Now in this short video we're going to talk about graphs, tables, and domain and range. So let's say that this is my function. I have a table of values here. And we want to graph the relation and connect the points. All right, very simply I'm going to do this in blue. So the first point on my graph is 0, 2. The second point on my graph is 1, 4. Third point on my graph is 2, 5, which is about right there. Next one is 4, 6, which is about right there. And the last one is 8, 7, which is about right there. And it says connect them. Okay, so I'm going to connect them. There we go. And there's my graph. Now, the domain. Remember, the domain goes this way. How far the numbers go in the x direction. Well, it looks like my domain, when I connect it, starts at 0 and it ends at 8. So my domain is all values for x that are between 0 and 8. The range. Range goes the opposite way. Range is up and down. Well, it reaches a low point of 2 and a high point of 7. So it looks like the y values are between 2 and 7. Erase my little marks here. And that's the domain and range of our little function. Now, it says write and graph the inverse. Well, very simply, in order to find a function's inverse, and I'm going to write this in red and I'm going to circle it. To find the inverse, switch the x and y values. I'm going to circle that. To find the inverse, switch the x and y values. So very simply, I'm going to take my red numbers, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, which were the y's, and I'm now going to put them in the x column. And I'm going to take my x's, 0, 1, 2, 4, and 8, and I'm going to now put them in the y column. Switch them. And now I'm going to graph it in green. The first point is 2, 0. The second point is 4, 1. The third point is 5, 2. The fourth point is 6, 4. And the last one is 7, 8, which is about right there. And if I connect my dots as best I can on this grid, it looks like that. And that is my inverse. Now, let's talk domain and range of the green one. Domain goes this way. Well, my graph goes from 2 to 7 in the x direction. And if I look at my range is up and down. It goes from a low there to a high up there, which is 0 to 8. People, take a look at this. When you switch the x and y values around, the domain and the range also switch around. Finally, what happened with the graph? Well, you notice if you take that blue graph, and I'm going to do this as best I can. I'm going to erase that. It wasn't as good as I can do. If I take that blue graph and I flip it across that dotted line, you notice the green line is a mirror reflection of it. Well, that red dotted line we learned in Unit 2 is the line y equals x. So therefore, to find an inverse graph, you flip it across that line, the line y equals x. And people, that is how you determine inverses. Let's summarize that. To find the inverse on a table of values, switch the x and y values. To find the inverse of a graph, flip the graph across the line y equals x. To find the inverse equation, which we'll do in the next video, switch x and y around and solve for y. That's the topic of the next video. And finally, to find the inverse for domain and range, switch the values around. Switch the domain and range. And there you go. That's inverses.